Today it's time to talk about Stannis Baratheon in the Winds of Winter, and I guess in general about Stannis' endgame. But we can't do that without getting into the Battle of Ice, of course. So, George, where do we leave off with Stannis, and what can we expect in the first half of the Winds of Winter?
George R. Martin said that the Winds of Winter is going to open up with two big battles, right? It's going to be Stannis' Battle of Ice and Barristan's Battle of Fire. So maybe we'll see it within like the first few pages, the Asha chapter. Right now, he's at the Crofters Village with two ice lakes. His men from the south, like 1,200, 1,500 knights, were starving and freezing and not doing very good. But the northern mountain clans who also follow Stannis were doing fine. They claim that this is the autumn's weather, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
Hugo.
when people say like Stannis's whole army is falling apart, I think they're exaggerating a little bit. Like Stannis's own people are kind of falling apart. But the Northerners who are there to avenge Ned and save quote unquote Arya Stark, I think they're doing okay.
Yeah, and they want to bathe in Bolton blood, as
Yeah,
Hugo Wool had
yeah.
it.
When they say like the Northmen will bail on Stannis on the first second of things going wrong, I think it's kind of mistaken because they're not in it for Stannis the Manus. They're in it because the Boltons pissed them off.
Yeah, which is a very interesting point when we think
Yeah.
about the North post Battle of Ice. That is going to be
Yeah.
interesting. How loyal are they going to be? I think right now with the Mandalese and Freys already at each other's throats, I kind of
Yeah.
do expect the Mandalese to switch
Right.
sides mid battle.
The only problem is because Manderly's potentially siding with Stannis, but he and Stannis are not communicating unless Stannis saw Manderly's moves in the fire. So there is a chance that things go wrong, that Manderly's drowned the lake too, which is not what we want to see.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard for the man to swim. Let's
But I guess if his granddaughter, like Walla, taking up if Manderly dies, it's gonna be like she's even more into Stannis. She openly declare for Stannis in front of the Freys. So things can go many ways, but I think Stannis has the phrase in the bag. It can go either way with the Boltons, but if we want Stannis to burn his daughter, he better win Winterfell first because it's not very feasible to do the Shireen barbecue if he dies.
which is the other thing, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, this is something that George told Dan and Dave,
Mm-hmm.
and after years of not really believing that Stannis would do it, I kind of changed my mind. But that is also something that I think will happen when we see his actual endgame. I don't think he's going to do it like send a raven, and especially with the chaos that is happening at the wall with Jon Snow obviously being dead. And the last time we've seen Castle
Mm-hmm.
Black, Wum was just going mad. So
And if he goes back to the wall, the first thing is not to burn your daughter. The first thing
yeah,
is chill out and wait for Justin Massey to come back with sellswords, you know?
exactly. Like I think the story for Stannis to burn his daughter, do you really have to push it to the next level? Something extreme has to happen. Something like the others coming. He's the only one, and that was made very clear by Samwell as well. He's the only one who cared. He's the only one who came to the north, and I don't think that some snow is gonna turn the man into a kinslayer right away. I mean, although Stannis is a kinslayer, he did kill Renly.
He's a kinslayer, like almost in the same way that Maekar is a kinslayer, you know? Well,
Yeah.
Maekar killed Breakspear accidentally, but they were fighting. And what we know for sure is that Stannis intentionally killed Coordinate Penrose. But it could very well be that Stannis did not know how Shadow Baby worked when he did the first thing with Melisandre. Because he had a fever dream, right? He thought he was sick. When he was doing Penrose, he's like, yeah, I've been here before. Let's do it.
Recall, if you do, the name of this castle. Man, I wished I would have made it into the show. But to get back to the Ice Lake and the Battle of Ice, how do you see it playing out? Just so we get through that again, so we can talk about the
Um,
end game.
he uses a beacon, right? Something that replaces the watchtower. So Some people think he's going to use his bright sword. Some people think that he's going to light the weirwood on fire, which might piss off the mountain clans. I think these are the two. And the third one's
His sword.
obviously... no, it's the weirwood tree, the sword, or setting Theon and or Arnulf Karstark on fire.
Yeah.
Which is going to be Karstark. You need Theon.
Yeah, it's not going to be Theon. Not going to be that easy for him.
Not necessarily because it couldn't happen, but because George only has so many POV characters. He runs out of Theon. He can only get Stannis through Asha. He likes to keep those options open.
We still have
Davos might be coming back.
Yeah, and Mel and John, depending on if John will remain a POV.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if John actually just died?
I mean, at this point, I think it would be goofy, but that would be a completely different story, and you would have to respect it, right?
Yeah.
That would be such a ballsy move. Like, John is not coming back, fuck you. That's just such a such a drastic change. And there are people out there that legitimately believe that John just died, So who knows?
Well, I mean, I actually thought of something funny in a way that Stannis fails is like Justin Massey just uses the Iron Bank money and drink himself to an early grave and just that's it. No more money from the Iron Bank. He's just getting hookers all day.
I mean,
like Bobby B would.
So let's talk about that for a minute. So Stannis sent Justin Massey to Bravos to get a sellsword army. Yeah. 20,000 men, I believe, is what he wanted, but
it's probably gonna get like half of that.
Yeah, which is another thing. If we look at all the sellsword armies, the famous ones, they're pretty much busy in Marine.
And then the rest are with John Con. So yeah, he's gonna get something. They're not gonna toss the Iron Bank storyline and have it not go anywhere.
Yeah, sure. And George could just make something up, Yeah, I don't think this army is necessarily for Stannis. I think this army is kind of like a buff for the northern armies after all of that war, Because realistically, after the War of the Five Kings, and then obviously whatever the outcome of this next war is, with the Boltons taking heavy losses, and you have to have more men in the north when the others come. And I think that's the purpose of this army, just to have some red shirts, It's kind of cheap, but it also gives us Stannerman hope, So it's well played by George. Yeah, I think Justin will get something, but I think his purpose is different. But I'm gonna get into that very soon in a different video, in a theory video about Justin Massey in Bravos.
You talking about her?
I'm talking about her, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Will we save her for another one?
Oh, we will. A certain girl. I believe that Stannis will fake his death after the Battle of Ice, and I think Manderley will survive, and I think he will help Stannis get into the castle.
Yeah. And wearing the Frey armors, right?
Yeah.
That's the only way, because Stannis cannot actually storm the castle. I feel like that's how it goes with all of the sieges. Like, you have to trick them somehow, because Jon Con cannot get into Storm's End, Stannis cannot get into Winterfell. They all have to do something sus. And another wild card is we'll see if Oren Waters joins back to Stannis or follows Aegon, or just be pirate,
or Justin Massey's gonna join Oren Waters.
That's gonna be
the two of them. Just they have the ships.
Two of them.
They have the ships. They have the money.
Pirates. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Ramsay as well, because I don't think he's gonna play as big of a role as he did in the show. But on the other hand, just killing Roose and just killing Ramsay just like that is a bit cheap. I don't see that happening.
Killing Ramsay by like Stannis or something?
Yeah, let's say he just executes both of them. I just don't see that happening. And I also just don't see Ramsay killing Roose like he did on the show.
Yeah, because the whole time we're pretty aware that Roose Bolton is aware that Ramsay wants to kill him. And that's the whole reason he sends Ramsay to Stannis, and he actually kind of hoped that Stannis kills Ramsay.
Oh, I'd love to see Theon killing him, but I don't think it's going to be gonna be that sweet. There is a possibility for Ramsay to flee.
Yeah.
You know, maybe
Yeah,
get to
because
Dreadfort.
that is a big reason that Roose sent Ramsay to Stannis, right? Hoping that he will die so that his new son by Walda will take over. And I guess Roose does care about kinslaying. He's like, hey Stannis, do me a favor here. Kill this fucking bastard.
Do you see, because I see a lot of theories about Jon coming into play in the Northern War. Do you see Jon coming into play here? Do you see him playing any part in retaking Winterfell, or do you think he's just gonna join when Winterfell is taken by Stannis?
Like having a bastard bowl?
I don't know, because I actually believe that Jon is gonna stay in Ghost for a while, like for a long while. I think it's gonna be.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna get Ghost chapters, and I think it's gonna take at least a quarter of the book until we get Jon in Jon's actual body again.
Yeah, I don't know. By the time Stannis either wins or loses, right? And Ramsay or Bolton's in general can still maybe retreat to Dreadfort, and that's gonna take a minute. Maybe Jon takes Dreadfort.
That is the thing. What if Jon and Ramsay do get their bastard bowl, because Ramsay actually manages to flee and Jon is coming after him? That could be something I could see. Winterfell would already be freed at that point, and I guess Davos maybe returns with Rickon, depending on how that goes.
When you think about it, like, Jon doesn't necessarily have to be the one to kill the Boltons, right? Because technically, Rickon has a lot more bone to pick with Ramsay than Jon ever did. He would just be on the wall minding his own business while his brothers are fleeing from the Boltons. Yeah, Rickon getting his revenge is probably like makes more sense than Jon, because honestly, I don't see that much. Like, I get it, a Stark takes back Winterfell and Jon is the most popular Stark, whatever, but like when you think about the story, he barely had anything to do with the whole Red Wedding, Bolton, all that stuff. Arya had more reason to kill the Boltons. Rickon had more reasons to kill the Boltons. Jon is just like, yo, I'm minding the business as a brother here.
Yeah, again, I don't see Theon killing him, although that would be very sweet.
Yeah, I think Theon's gonna be like out of action for a while. He might recover down, so he can 1v1 Night King, but not for now.
I don't see a Night King happening in the books. I think Theon could be allowed to take the Black. I could see that happening. Yeah, because I guess that's the only way for him to be pardoned, and I don't see him getting burned. Melisandre is not there, so there's no glamour. So that is kind of, it's either him fleeing or him taking the Black.
Depends on if Melisandre gave Stannis like one of those tokens, right? Because right now it's pretty clear that Stannis is communicating with someone, be it Melisandre or Bran, right?
How so?
Well, Bran's talking through the ravens, the tree.
Oh, but you believe that Stannis is understanding that?
Not necessarily. It could be, because Melisandre and Bran are both interested in the outcome of this battle.
Oh, for sure. I think this one was more about Theon, though. I think Theon kind of tripped.
Bran is more,
saw his face in the weirwood.
Right. Yeah.
Winterfell. I think Bran might be communicating with Theon.
Yeah, and Theon is going to contribute. I think he will be pretty important to taking Winterfell, because he's taken Winterfell. He knows the layout. I think Stannis did make it clear that he wasn't executing Theon despite the clans asking for it, is because what he might know.
See, it's gonna be interesting. We both believe that Stannis is going to take Winterfell. I think Roose Bolton is going to be executed by Stannis in the end.
Yeah.
What do you see happening afterwards? That's where we get into Stannis' endgame. What's the purpose of Stannis Baratheon's character in A Song of Ice and Fire? Why is he in the North at this particular time period?